In my Make My Nut mentoring community, I'm getting people coming in, and they're super passionate. They have a whole lot of things that they love, and they're just having trouble deciding, like, where should they focus. Like, they want to quit their day job, they want to get paid to live their dream life and do their dream projects, but they just have trouble making up their mind. It's like I can't settle on something. Like, I don't know how to take all these things and turn it into just one thing that I can do to make money, basically. So it's like, how do I turn all these interests and all these passions, and like, one person wrote and she said, I could really, like, I know how to help people heal, but I have all these other things and I'm not sure I want to really commit to this one thing. Okay, so how do we deal with that? Well, first we notice, it's like, okay, well, while we're in this state of lack of commitment, and I have another video just about what is commitment, but we're not able to commit to taking an action, so no action is happening. But the thing is really driving, this is my own approach to these things. I really haven't seen anybody teach this way for achieving solutions to these kind of challenges in life. And so what I teach people is just focus on the money first. Like, don't even worry about what you're going to do. Because the first thing is you want your financial freedom, right? If you had that, then everything else will just fall into place, right? And a lot of people teach, well, do what you're passionate about and the money will follow. And, it does kind of work, but to be honest, I've done that. And a lot of times I achieved the passion, but then I ended up broke at the same time. And that's not really healthy. Like, we want to have our passions and our full self-expression of our lives and pay the bills and have some savings for old age and, and take some vacations. Like, you don't necessarily want to be on all the time, and you want to be able to pay for other people to help and all these other things too. So here's what I do. I tell people, like, really start looking at a number, the number that would have you totally satisfied in the area of money. And again, money kind of comes in two flavors. One is your monthly income, what you're using to pay your daily expenses. And the other is your net worth. This is another sign of your wealth. It's like, just how big is this number of, how big is your bank account? If you take your bank account and what, your investments and things like that, just the pure money thing. A lot of spiritual people, they don't want to talk about money because, like, money, they've been taught that money is bad. I'm spiritual, I don't need to, think about money. And they're just suppressing all their fears and sicknesses around money. Like, money's just this thing. It's like lightning. It's like, if you go to when you get your electric bill, it says you use kilowatt hours. Kilowatt hours is words that we use to describe the actual energy flowing. And money, dollars or euros or any of those things, those are words that we use to describe something very profound. And so same with electricity. Electricity can be flowing, or you can store it in a battery and use it later. Well, same thing with our energy, that we have. There's a real aspect to it. Money is not just a complete fantasy. There's something real about it, that it reflects an aspect of our human beingness. And so when we turn our attention away from money and we don't have a healthy relationship with it, then we come up with all kinds of nonsense and stuff that makes our lives a lot harder. So what I do is I ask people, like, really get an idea of what amount of money. It's sometimes easier to imagine your net worth. Imagine that no matter what you do, there's always a certain amount of money that you have. Like, no matter how much you spend, it just refills automatically. And I've, as a fundraiser, I've met very wealthy people, multimillionaires, centimillionaires, billionaires. I've worked with all these people. And one thing I can tell you is the rich are different in this way. They have a threshold of pain that's much higher than most of us. for a lot, most average people, it's like when the bank account gets too close to zero, we feel uncomfortable and we kind of get in motion. We start taking some action to refill, enough to live another month or 2 months, but the wealthy people I met, that feeling of the water level's too low, that's much higher. For some of them it's $100 million. For some of them it's $1 billion. It's like, I don't want to go anywhere near that threshold. And so they get into action a lot sooner than, like for me, I just love the forest. I would give everything I got. And then, oh, shoot, my bank account's like, it's pretty low. I better take some action, figure out a way to restock the money. We don't want the banks to tell us where that bottom threshold. We want ourselves. And we don't want to set it from this idea of kind of scarcity. We want to look from the idea of satisfaction. So start with the number. And a lot of people find this very difficult because they have a lot of built-in objections to just even having money. I've been mentoring people. It's like just the idea of having money brings up very, unpleasant thoughts and feelings. And that we use the techniques I teach in my, Make My Nut group, and that I'm teaching on these videos as well, the simple versions. We use those techniques to heal these wounds that are saying, I can't have money. It's really weird. It's weird, but it's normal. It's really quite normal. And what we want to do is we want to keep ratcheting up. It's like, imagine, I don't know where your kind of threshold is. Most people said really low numbers. It's like, well, one of my students was saying, well, if I could have $100,000, I could make a down payment on a condominium. And I said, yeah, but then the condominium's $500,000. You'd be in debt. Like, do you really want to visualize being in debt for $400,000 with $100,000 down? So we ratcheted that number up. It's like, what if the house was just part of your net worth? You got $500,000 worth of house asset, and you got another $500,000 in the bank. So that's $1 million right there. That's just getting started. And then look, like, what would you do if you had it? How would your life feel? And the point is to just keep going up and up and up as much as you can go until suddenly you feel like you'd be just totally satisfied. Like, imagine that, you're hungry for chocolate cake, and somebody brings you a chocolate cake, and it's cut into slices. You can have one slice, and then you can have another slice, and you just eat as much as you want until you're like, you know what? I just can't eat any more chocolate cake. That's what we want to do with money. It's like, okay, I'm so satisfied. You want to get that feeling of deep satisfaction in the area of money, because that feeling of satisfaction is, well, what I like to tell people is that we create from our state. That's if I have a mantra that I say to people or a trademark slogan, it's that we create from our state. So if you're coming now at your life, first of all, you're allowing yourself to just experience satisfaction. Again, with a lot of my students, like they have a lot of trouble getting to the point where they can just feel being satisfied. They're afraid to feel full in the area of money. It's really interesting. It's really exciting to me because I'm helping them every day. It's a lot of fun. And just keep ratcheting up, use some of the other techniques. If something comes up negative, it's like, oh, I can't have that much. That's like a negative affirmation. That's like the opposite of where we want to go. Just say to that thing, I love you, fear, I love you, or, nervousness, anxiety about money, I love you, and just say I love you over and over again and heal that old pattern that somehow we planted in our mind, in our emotions, in our biomemory. And it doesn't matter why, it doesn't matter when. All we want to do is just give it some love, give it some attention. So from that point of the feeling of satisfaction, if we're creating from our state and we're starting with satisfaction in the area of money, then suddenly when we look at this problem of having too many options and too many choices, suddenly you'll begin to see one step seems more satisfying than another. And you take that step that is the most resonant with being satisfied. See, when you just have a whole stack of ideas of what you could do, or maybe you should do that in order to get money, then your mind is just weighing in and constantly evaluating. And the mind is not that good at making these kind of decisions. The power of our being, this part of our consciousness, and I have another video on consciousness, the part of that that makes these decisions really well is our intuition, or you can call it your heart. Like suddenly you'll say, wow, this is the exact right way for me to go. But by doing this work on just being satisfied in the area of money, now you've got a reference point. What does it feel like to feel satisfied? And what kind of actions could I take that also feel satisfying and that create more and more satisfaction in my life? So, I hope you can see in this video, like, I'm really enjoying my life right now because I do this work myself. It works. And I've I've spent a long time just getting satisfied in the area of my body's health. And finally, after several years, it's like that big thing it's starting to get into the rearview mirror. It's not totally done, but like I'm doing stuff I didn't think I would be able to do. A year ago, I didn't think I'd be able to walk. And today, I've been walking 10,000 steps a day for the past more than a month now. And that's changed my whole health. And, it was a long road to get there, but I had to keep on feeling satisfied and bringing that feeling of satisfaction in my life, even though my body didn't feel the way I wanted. So here, use money, that idea of money as a tool to get you just cleared out of any kind of negative, old thoughts and feelings until you can just, anytime you want, just hold that feeling of satisfaction. And when I think of my money goals, I don't even worry about getting them, but they're up there. I've got some pretty big goals. And, because I've raised millions of dollars, I've crashed and burned a lot of times. And it's just now, whether I reach them or not isn't so important as the feeling of satisfaction I got from visualizing that. And I've taken that feeling of satisfaction and applied it to every area of my life. And day by day and month by month, my life's just gotten more and more satisfying until basically it's pretty much all day right now. It's really nice. And I want to share that with you. So, if you like what I'm saying, feel free to sign up and, go to my Make My Nut community, links below in the notes. And I'll see you there.